Welcome, everyone. We are so excited to have you here today at our Finding Our Fit Making Choices for the Next School Year Facebook Live session. This is going to be a really great session, parents, because this is one of those topics that I feel like I've never met a parent who doesn't have questions about, including myself. So, we are joined today by some really amazing experts, and I cannot wait to introduce you to them. So today you're going to have an opportunity to interact with Dr. Kia Scott, who is in charge of all of our charter school organization, and she is so knowledgeable. You're going to be talking to Amy Lerman from our OCPS virtual school. You're going to be talking to Manal, who's also going to be with virtual school. You're going to be talking with Sonia and Christian, who are with our alternative education centers. And you're going to be talking with Dr. Kimberly Marlowe, who is literally the magnet guru. She knows all there is to know about magnets. So before we get started, let's just kind of think about and talk about what your role is at this time of year, because it can be so challenging, I feel like, in the spring as parents to figure out kind of like what our next steps are. So we have 5 key steps that can help you make choices for the next school year. And you can find these right on our OCPS webpage by clicking on the Current Families tab. And those 5 steps are to first review your school's report card. Check out what courses are available at your school. Almost all of our schools have exciting electives, and our middle schools and high schools have dual enrollment and advanced placement options that you may not be aware of to help your child pick the best courses for you at your child's school. But we recognize that sometimes you realize that your school is not the right fit for your child or your family, and you're looking for some other options. And the best part about Orange County Public Schools is we have a lot of options. So your next step is going to be to really review your choices for magnet programs, virtual schools, dual enrollment, and alternative programs. And guys, we have got you covered here today. We have all of the experts ready to talk to you about these things. Then you're going to be able to think about some other transfer opportunities. You might not realize that there are open seats in some of our schools that you can apply to have access to. And that's going to be part of what Dr. Westerman is going to talk to you about later. Then you should check out some family scholarships and see if those are the right fit for your family. We have several options that you'll learn about today. And then last but not least, evaluate all your choices and make the best decision for your family. So, how do you keep it all straight? Well, that is a great question. And so we're going to start. I'm going to pass it on over to Dr. Kia Sweeney, Kia Scott Sweeney, and she is going to be sharing with us kind of the overview of the School Choice Services Program. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. What you see before you today on this particular slide are all of the programs that are held within our school choice office. Today, we're going to focus, as Marielle mentioned, the magnet programs, our Orange County Virtual School, our charter schools, and our alternative education programs. We do have other pieces that fall under school choice, but today those are our biggies and our takeaways for you. It is important to include student enrollment on this, even though it's a school program. They they hand in hand with us as far as finding other transfer options for schools. So, you'll hear more about those as we go through our presentation.
All right. Well, I know that one of the most popular school choice options out there are magnet programs. I mean, we have so many amazing magnet programs. And parents, if you didn't know, there is actually a virtual magnet fair going on right now. So I am going to kick it over to Dr. Kimberly Marlowe, who's going to tell us all about our magnet programs.
Well, hello everyone and good afternoon. We're so glad that you're a part. We're so glad that you're a part of today's lunch with us. And I'd love to speak to you about magnet opportunities in our district. So first I'd like to say that magnets are created so that students can hone in on their skills or their passions, their talents. And we see that across the board in many areas I'll talk about in a moment, but really is so a student can do highly specialized, focused work in what they love to do. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the landscape, if you will. So currently right now, we have over 7,000 students, that's in kindergarten through 12th grade, that are currently active magnet students in our district. And I do believe we're growing in the numbers. Right now we have 46 total magnet programs in schools, including 10 at elementary, 11 at middle, and 25 at high. But included in that 46 programs in schools are 3 zoneless standalone schools that anyone in the district that qualifies could come to. Now, first I want to say that the magnet programs are for everyone in the district. So there's something for everyone. And we have some tremendous programs out there for you right now. We have programs in culinary arts at the high school level. We have programs in performing arts at elementary, middle, and high. We have fire science, criminal justice, law. We have something for everyone, and we encourage you to check us out to see if there's something there that's just for you. We take students from kindergarten through the 10th grade through our application process, and I'll speak about that in just a second. Currently, right now, we are in our primary application window. Currently, right now, we're in the application window. It started on November 1st, and will run until February 15th. And that application, doesn't matter that you didn't apply in November or December. If you're interested, come on, just apply by the 15th of this month. All those applications will go into the lottery, and our first one is February 23rd with notification letters to parents on the 25th. You know, one great way to check out what our magnets look like and feel like, if you will, is to go to our virtual magnet fair, and that's at ocps.net. You'll find there our magnet brochure in a number of languages. You'll find the magnet application that is translatable. You'll also find videos and fun facts and one-on-one information about each of the programs across the district. And we're very proud to bring that to you in a virtual format now, because that says that you can access that information from those programs directly 24/7. The virtual magnet fair will stay open until February 16th, and then we'll take it down and get ready for next year's magnet fair. It starts in November.
Okay, it's back to me. I'm Kia Scott again, and I'm going to talk to you about our charter school options here in Orange County. So just to clear up any misconceptions, charter schools are independent public schools. Many people feel that, hear the word charter, that it is a private school option. Charter schools are public schools. What makes them different from a traditional school? Well, charter schools select their own teachers and staff, and they design their own academic program, which must be in compliance with Florida statute, which means they can teach any standards that are available through or required by the state of Florida. However, they can do that any way they like. They do not have to use or mirror the curriculum of the traditional school district, so that's where they have flexibility. They are responsible for their own financial oversight, but it's important to note that even though they are responsible for their own oversight, the district does have oversight as well as the state. So it's not that the money is just flowing, it is being monitored. Each school is governed by an independent governing board. So if there's an issue at a charter school, you don't come to OCPS's school board for complaints. They have their own board of directors that handles any issues or any concerns regarding that school. As you notice on the bottom, our role in OCPS is to monitor each school to make sure that they are following statutory compliance. That means we follow up on their program that they're implementing, we follow up on their accountability, and we do follow up on their finances just to make sure everything is in compliance. Currently, we have 15,000 plus. Well, as of our last enrollment summary, we now have 16,207 students that are enrolled in our charter schools. We currently have 41 schools across the county. We have 4 that have been deferred, which means they have already been approved to open, and they have a period of within 3 years to open. So we do actually have 2 additional schools opening August coming up. So we will be at 43 for August of 2022. Okay, applying to charter schools, families can choose to enroll in a charter school at any time, just like you can if you decided to go to a private school. But open enrollment is there for charter schools. The caveat to that is that unlike traditional schools, even though we have a capacity, if you're in that zone, you have to go to school. With a charter school, if the school's enrollment is at capacity, you may not be able to get in that particular time. You may have to go onto a wait list. And I think we'll touch on that in another slide, just in case. So here's some FAQs real quick about charter schools. Who can attend a charter school? Any student in Orange County can attend any charter school. Where they differ from a traditional school is there are zone lists. So if you are on the east side of town and you found a school up in Apopka, you are more than welcome to attend that school as long as they haven't opened. How are students selected and enrolled? New schools, you will just go in and apply or register to a school. If it's a school that has had a lot of interest or has a waiting list, then there's a lottery system, almost similar to the lottery system we have for our magnet programs. And then from that lottery system, you're notified. If you did not happen to get in at a particular time, you will then be placed on a wait list. Do charter schools provide transportation? They can, they're not required to. We currently have 1 school that provides transportation, and one of our new schools that is coming on next year will also provide transportation. Do charter schools provide exceptional student services? Of course they do. They are a public school. They are required to do so. Now, the difference is because some of our charter schools are smaller than the traditional school, sometimes they do have services that they're not able to provide to students, but that's when our ESC team for the district comes in and we work with the schools to make sure that those children are placed appropriately. How are charter schools held accountable? Just like any traditional school, they have to use our state assessments, and they're required to take them and participate in them. Where we differ from a traditional school is that if a traditional school is not doing well, you have different measures to try to fix that in the future. If a charter school has 2 F grades, there's no discussion, it closes automatically. Are charter school teachers certified? Oh, but yes, they are. They have to follow the same requirements as a traditional school. And lastly, are charter schools run for profit management companies? Well, one misconception is that all charter schools are run by companies that make money. And this is not necessarily true. They can be run by what we call mom and pops. Anybody can start a charter school, or they can contract with a management company, which means they just help them and assist with finances, HR, but we are never contracted with a third party for-profit management company. All charter schools are run by a nonprofit. And if you have any further questions a little down the line, we'll be glad to answer them.
So a really great question already came up, Kia, and that was one of our families was looking at our website, and we're so glad that they found it. And they were asking, do you know what some of those upcoming charter schools are, or when our kind of like official list of the ones that will be available for next year will be ready?
That's something we can add because we just got the MSID numbers or the identification numbers for those schools, so we can add those to our website. And I'm glad that she did ask about it because it's kind of hard to find us in school choice on our website. We are under the newcomers tab, and then after newcomers, you're into school choice. So that's how you find all of us, hidden on the website.
Awesome, awesome. So families, you heard that. We're going to update that with those new charter school links soon, so stay tuned.
And these are the focus areas that we do have for our charter schools. They run the gamut. Most schools provide just general education, but we do have a few with these specific focus areas: autism spectrum disorder. We do have some ESC sites. We have schools that provide positive behavior support, and that's their focus. We do have most of our high schools that we do have in charter are credit recovery, dropout retrieval, and prevention. Leadership skills, character ed. We have a few that are health and wellness. We have a couple of STEM programs and career academies. And of course, like I mentioned before, we do have schools that focus on students with learning disabilities. All right, thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Andy Westerman. I will be able to talk to you from student enrollment about our transfers. We have scholarships up there too. It's kind of the Hope Scholarship, but it's really a transfer when you're talking about public school systems, transfers within our district. So we have a list of about 12 different transfers that we can talk to you about. I'm very, very pleased to be able to talk to you about these and help explain what they mean, because there's a lot of confusion about what each one kind of means. So there are 12 are listed here, and I'm going to go through them based on the time of year that they're applicable, because I think that makes more sense for people to look at and try to understand them. So the transfer window that's open right now from February 1st through April 30th is our traditional transfer window. And that has to do with our academic transfer, the controlled open enrollment, capacity transfer, and the grandfather transfer. The academic transfer is for high school students who are completing an academic course of study. Let's say they're in Chinese 2, they move to another school zone within Orange County, and the new school doesn't offer Chinese 3. So this is the perfect transfer to be able to allow them to go and stay in Chinese 3 at the original school. Now, transportation is not provided, but there's an opportunity here for students to continue that academic course of study. So it's for students who are already in a course of study for them to continue that to remain at their old school.
That's really interesting. I bet a lot of our parents have no idea these transfers exist, Dr. Westerman. So that's really, really helpful. When you're thinking about those academic transfers, that's any school K-12, right, that could be participating in that?
Only 9-12. It's only for high school students to complete those academic courses of study.
Okay, so that's high school only families for that academic transfer. Awesome. I can't wait to hear about the next one.
All right. The controlled open enrollment capacity transfer is just a more recent transfer that's become available. We're in about our 4th year of doing that, or 5th year. The controlled open enrollment capacity transfer has to do with schools that are under a 90% capacity now and for the next 4 years in our projections, meaning that we've got open seats, and on the list, if there are open seats there, you can apply to go there. Let's say there are 50 seats at a school that you want to go to. If there are 45 people that apply for that transfer, everybody's going to get in. If there are 60 people who apply for that transfer, then we have a lottery, and 50 out of the 60 will be able to get a seat at that school, and we send out those letters to parents. The window closes on the 30th. We have the lottery on May 6th, and parents are notified on that day, and then they have to be enrolled by May 27th this year.
So I just dropped a link in here for that controlled open enrollment, Dr. Westerman, because we're getting a lot of questions about that in here. So in our comment box, parents, here is our link of our schools that have open seats for next year. Really a huge range of schools. Feel free to check them out. There are definitely options for elementary, middle, high school, and K-8. And again, if you check on the comments, you'll see it right below.
80 elementary schools this year, which is up from, I think we had 49 or 50 last year. So we've got quite a few more elementary schools available this year.
That's awesome. Wow.
It is. The grandfather transfer is for those students who have been, well, there are two different types of the grandfather transfer. Traditionally, if a student moves during their 4th grade year, we will allow students to complete their elementary school, their middle school, or their high school years at the original school for their 5th, 8th, or 12th grade year. So it's, we don't want students to move during their 4th grade year and then have to go to a different school their 5th grade year, and then a new school for middle school. So, it kind of upheaves their educational process. So we allow students, if they move during their 4th grade year, or even the summer before 5th grade, that they're able to stay in their original school. Now, transportation is not provided. Parents have to make that decision themselves. And also, it doesn't apply to siblings. If you've moved and you've got a kindergarten student coming up, they're not eligible for that grandfather transfer they would be going to the new school because they've got more than just that 1 year to continue at the new school. That's the idea. The other reason we have grandfather transfers is for rezoning. We've had quite a few rezoning. We got a lot of new schools opening up this fall. And so any students that are also in that situation where they're going to be a 5th grader next year and they've been rezoned, we would allow them to stay at their original school. If students are going from an existing school to an existing school, let's say they've been rezoned from Wolf Lake Middle School to Apopka Middle School, or vice versa, that's an existing school to an existing school, we would allow them to remain at their original school as well. The idea for the rezonings are that we're trying to relieve schools that are over capacity. So students who are in kindergarten through 3rd grade basically will not be allowed to remain at their original school unless it's an existing to an existing rezoning. All right, I hope that answers most questions about grandfathers. It does get a little bit confusing, but we have a lot more information on our website too, which we'll have the links for those a little bit later. Tagging on to the controlled open enrollment capacity transfer, we have the open seat transfer. And the open seat transfer has to do with those seats that are still left open after the beginning of the school year. Now, it's open from October 15th to March 15th. This was the first year that we've had that open, and it's been going very well so far. What we do is we take into account how many seats in the elementary are open per grade level, because by the time school opens, principals need an opportunity to be able to hire teachers and get their grade level set, and then they may still have some openings at each grade level. But some grades may be full, and we don't want to force a principal to have to hire another teacher with transfers coming in from outside of their zone. If there are still open seats based there, then of course we want to offer those seats out to anybody that would like to move from one school into that school with the extra capacity. That transfer closes March 15th. And then anybody that's still interested in going to one of the schools with open seats would need to apply for the capacity transfer, the controlled open enrollment capacity transfer for next year. Then we have another set of transfers that are limited. And what I mean by limited is they're only valid like for a certain part of the year or for certain conditions. The academic year completion transfer basically is for students who have moved after the first day of school to be able to stay at that school for the rest of the year. You know, we don't want students that, you know, get through, establish their friendship groups and get used to a certain schedule. They're in the school for, you know, 6 weeks, and then all of a sudden mom and dad have to move. If there's an opportunity for parents to be able to provide their own transportation, we want those students to be able to stay in their original school for the rest of the year. And that's what the academic year completion transfer allows students to do. And that's valid from the first day of school throughout the school year. For the pending move transfer, we get a lot of movement over the summer. People can move into the county from out of county or within the county. And we want to provide students the opportunity to be able to enroll in the school where they're going to be living in their new house. So let's say a new house is being built. It's going to close on October 1st. And here it is July 1st. And parents want to go enroll, but their residence in Orange County right now is zoned for a different school, or they're staying at a hotel or an Airbnb, something like that, until their house is completed. Well, where they're at right now is not zoned for where they're going to live. So we don't want the students to enroll in one school and then 60 days later have to go to the new school where their new house is being built. So if it's within 60 days and parents can provide a closing date document and proof that they're in Orange County now, they can apply for that pending move transfer, and it'll allow those students to be able to go and enroll at their school where they're going to be in their new home.
Dr. Westerman, there's a quick question here from Ms. Nobles about if buses are available if they transfer, let's say, in that pending move transfer.
No, that's not.
Okay, so no transportation.
Yeah, no transportation for any of our transfers except for the medical transfer, which is a transfer I'll get into in a minute. But that's because OCPS has moved the student to another school due to the needs of their IEP.
Okay, so in general, If the parent is choosing a transfer, they're responsible for transportation, except in the situation of that medical transfer, which we're going to talk
Yeah.
about next.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The rising 5th, 8th, and 12th grade students, I talked a little bit about that already. Something that goes in line with kind of the grandfather transfer. If a student moves during the school year and summer before their 5th, 8th, and 12th grade year, they can choose to remain at that school to finish up their kind of career at that school. The grandfather transfer really is about if their address has been rezoned, and the rising transfer is more about if they have moved within the district during that previous school year. So that's the key difference between the two.
So we have another really good question, and I have to be honest, this one's on my mind too, Dr. Westerman. So this parent would like to know if their child gets a seat in that controlled open enrollment lottery for a school, is it only valid for that year? Or if, for example, they're in 9th grade, is it valid through the end of high school?
That's a great question. The validity of all of our transfers, except for the AYC, is for the length of that school. So if a student gets the controlled open enrollment transfer for kindergarten, they're able to stay at that school all the way through 5th grade. Same way with 6th through 8th, and then 9th, it'd be up through 12th grade. So psychological, academic transfers, as long as they're staying enrolled in that class and that course, the controlled open enrollment, all of these transfers are valid up through the highest grade level of that school.
That's awesome. I had no idea. What a great opportunity for our families. All right. Well, I will flip on over because I know you have even more transfers to talk about. You have all the fun things.
Yes. So the any time of year transfers has to do with these 5 that are up in front of us. The ESC Sibling Transfer has to do with a student who has an IEP. They're being transferred to another school because the school that they're zoned for cannot meet the needs of the student. So they'll be transferred to another OCPS school to ensure that the IEP is met. Any siblings that are with that student are also able to be transferred as well. And transportation, if there's room on the bus that the ESC student with the IEP has, if there's room on the bus, then those students are able to ride the bus with them. Also, that transfer is valid through, let's say if it's an elementary student, it's valid through elementary school. So even though the ESC student, let's say, is in 4th grade, you have a younger sibling who's in 1st grade, the ESC sibling goes on to middle school, the ESC sibling can stay at that school up through 5th grade. That's their home school. You know, that's their school that they can continue through. The transportation, of course, goes away because the middle school student into the other students now going on to middle school. But the younger student may stay at that school as long as the parents go ahead and provide their own transportation. Okay. The Hope Scholarship Transfer is, there are kind of 2 pieces to this one. If there's an incident at a school that can involve anything from, you know, victim or perpetrator sort of situation, there's an incident at a school with bullying or some other type of incident, fighting, whatever happens there, they can work with the principal and they can have a Hope Scholarship Transfer notification form signed. What that allows for is for parents to be able to transfer their student to any school within the district that is on the capacity list. Now, those capacities are the schools that we have listed for our controlled open enrollment. So any of those schools you'd be able to use the Hope Scholarship Transfer for. That's valid through June 30th of the same school year. So if there's an incident that happens now and parents, you know, are trying to find out, well, do we really want to go to another school? They'd have to make up their mind and submit things to our office by June 30th, or else the Hope notification letters, you know, kind of expires. Because we're figuring if a student is, you know, at the school and they haven't changed schools by the end of the school year, then something must have worked out, and you know, it would then start over, you know, at the same school. Now, that open seat transfers that we've already talked about are the same list. And so in some cases, it may be more straightforward to just go ahead and use the open seat transfer instead of going through the Hope Scholarship Transfer situation. When I said there are 2 parts to the Hope Scholarship Transfer, the situation there is if you're going to access the private school aspect of that, you need to contact the Department of Education, and they have a Step Up for Students link for parents to complete a website there, and they go on through that process. And the public schools, our district is kind of out of it at that point. So if you want to change to another public school, we use the capacity schools list, and you go through that transfer application process. If you want to access it for transportation or for the private school option, then you need to go to the Department of Education and kind of sort that out there from there. All right, talking a lot, sorry. Medical transfers. This is if a situation at a school where there's a medical situation for a student and there are specific needs that the student has that the school would not be able to meet. And if there'd be a transfer to the next nearest school where those medical needs could be met. So it's along the lines of the sibling transfer or the ESC special needs transfer, but this one you have to prove a medical diagnosis need and that the school that they're zoned for can't meet those needs. That's a pretty unusual situation in most cases. We don't have a lot of medical transfers because our schools are pretty well staffed to handle most anything that comes along. The psychological transfer is a transfer for students who can show a need for a transfer because their students' psychological needs are not being met at their zone school, or that their needs would be met at another school. It's a situation where generally it's a student who's in a school and let's say, because there's no like magical formula for this one, every case in this one is a unique situation. But let's say parents are separated or divorced. A student is going to school based on mom's address. Unfortunately, mom passes away, and now the student is going to go live with dad. The student's a sophomore at school. We would be able to work with that family to say, okay, this sounds like there's a situation here where a psychological transfer may be in order to allow the student to stay in their original school and not have to go to the school where dad's address is zoned for. As long as dad provides transportation, that would be a psychological need where that would be appropriate to be able to allow the family for the student to stay there. So that's just a kind of a situation where a psychological transfer might apply.
Dr. Westerman, we have another question that I feel like might be on a lot of people's minds after you've shared all of these options, and people are excited in the chat box.
Right.
We have a question about a school that could be considered low performing. So for example, if a school has a letter grade of a D or an F, which one of the options that you spoke about is a possibility to transfer to another school? There was a little bit of confusion about that. Did you address that?
I haven't, but in that sort of a situation, our controlled open enrollment capacity transfer is open to anybody who wants to transfer from any school to any of our schools with capacity. The same with the open seat transfer that's available right now. There is a transfer called the Opportunity Scholarship Transfer that Dr. Scott's office handles, but that usually is in the case of a failing school or a school that gets 2 or 3 Ds in a row. Then they would be able to apply to go to a different school. Now, fortunately, our district is doing super awesome and we have no failing schools. And so that Opportunity Scholarship Transfer is something that we haven't had to deal with for a while. So if there's a school that's got 3 Ds in a row, then maybe I think it's 3. Dr. Kia, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's only 3 Ds in a row, and we haven't had any of those for a while as well.
Dr. Scott, you want to jump in here for a second? If you have anything to add.
Yes, if the school has 3 Ds in a row or 1 F will qualify for that school to be part of the Opportunity Scholarship Transfer.
Yeah, we
So
haven't
right
had that
now,
for a
we
while,
don't
right?
have any schools that qualify for that. So just, I see the Ben family had asked that question. So great news, our schools are high performing. We're in a good spot as a district. But if you do feel like you need to find a different fit, right, which is what this is all about, utilize that controlled open enrollment transfer or that open seat transfer. And again, check the chat box for that list. So awesome. There's also been quite a few questions about charter schools for exceptional student education programs that are popping up here. So we are going to post a list of just some of the options that are available in the chat box for you. So great questions that have been popping up there. There was another question just really quickly that would be for Dr. Marlowe about, do all magnet schools require like an audition? And I think the answer to that is no, it's case by case. But is there anything you want to share there?
Yes, there are two schools that require an audition, and that is at the high school level. University Performing Fine Arts will require an audition in the performance area that has been indicated by the student and the family, as well as Dr. Phillips Visual and Performing Arts. So it could be an audition in TV, it could be an audition in painting, it could be ballet and dance, or it could be voice or instrument, and a few other areas.
Okay, awesome. And then Dr. Westerman, before you keep going, one quick question about the Hope Scholarship. Can it be used for siblings as well?
The Hope Scholarship has to have a Hope notification form signed by the principal. So if anybody has an incident at a school, the principal would be doing that on a case by case for each student individually. So it's not like a sibling preference, but if there's something that's going on with the family, that an incident is involving more than just one student, maybe the sibling of the student as well, that principal would sign off on that Hope notification form if more than just the one student is involved.
Okay, awesome. Guys, there are so many active and involved parents in here too. It's just fascinating. So
That's
just
awesome.
so many great questions. There's several folks that have a question for you, Dr. Westerman, and then we are going to keep moving because I know we have some more great information to share from some of the other folks.
Absolutely.
But we have a few parents who are having, I guess, maybe the opposite issue. They've had to move because of a unique situation or whatever the case is, and they want to know if there are any options to stay at their current school. So I'm wondering if maybe that might also be an opportunity for the open seat transfer, the controlled open enrollment. But other than that, is there any option for them to stay at a school they're not currently zoned for?
I could think of three options. That's the controlled open enrollment if they're on the list. The same with the open seat transfer if they're on the list. If they've moved during the school year, they're able to stay at least the rest of that school year on the academic year completion transfer, the AYC. But
Okay.
the last one is if they're in 4th, 7th, or 11th grade, they would be able to apply for the rising 5th, 8th, and 12th grade transfer to go to that school to finish at their original school for the year. Other than that, if they're a 1st, 2nd, 3rd grader, a 6th grader, a 9th and 10th grader, no, they're going to be expected to go on to their newly zoned school to help keep the balance across the district.
Of course. So thank you so much for that. So we will keep us moving. And parents, I know that there's been so many questions about this, and I bet your mind is blown because there are some of those transfers that may be new to you, right? So here are two really important links for you to be aware of. One is the student enrollment website. If you have any of these unique cases that are coming up and maybe isn't something we can answer generally, definitely give them a call. And we created a very short bit.ly for you. It's bit.ly/OCPS student enrollment. And we'll drop that in the chat. And then all of that transfer information he just shared, and Dr. Westerman has my just my undying admiration because I don't know how he keeps it all straight. Is going to be here under bit.ly/OCPS transfers. So that way you can find that information easly and be able to get to it as quickly as you can.
Parents can email us as well at student enrollment@ocps.net, and we will endeavor to answer their questions as quickly as we can.
Okay, awesome, guys. So you heard that, studentenrollment@ocps.net, and we'll drop that in the chat as well. So just awesome. Thank you so much for that. I've learned so much myself, so I really appreciate your time. So the other thing we keep hearing about in the chat is Orange County Virtual School and trying to kind of understand how that fits into this big picture. When can people choose to go there? Who might it be the right fit for? And I know we have two experts on the call today who are going to be able to answer all of those questions. So let's take it away, our OCPS friends.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amy Lerman, and I'm one of the assistant principals here at Orange County Virtual School. I'm here, one of my partners today, that's Manal Sohail, one of my instructional coaches, and we have Jason Caperton in the chat. I can't see the PowerPoint. Can you make the PowerPoint a little larger? I don't know what happened here.
Sure. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, it just got really small.
But it's on our side, it's the right size, so it might be on your screen.
Okay, thanks so much, Jason. All right, so to begin, I just want to let you know how Orange County Virtual School came about. Orange County Virtual School came about due to a state statute 1002.45. And that state statute said that all districts in Florida had to have a virtual school that serviced students in K through 12. And so in 2010, Orange County Virtual School opened with Brandy Gurley as the principal, and she has led our school since then. So we are a district virtual school. Can you go back a slide, please? We are a district virtual school, district public virtual school. We are the largest virtual school in the state of Florida at this time, not considering FLVS, we're the largest district virtual school. We have been rated an A school the last 6 years, and we also have received the accomplishment of being the best, one of the best high schools in the nation. So there are some really great benefits of Orange County Virtual School. Next slide. Let me go to the next slide. So some of the benefits include students in OCPS can accelerate, they can remediate, they can take courses that they've already taken and they haven't been successful with. It's a flexible setting, a flexible learning environment. Sometimes we have students that are actors or actresses or are on a competitive sports team. It also allows students to meet their online graduation requirement. That considering things like HOPE, they take driver's ed, they take their government class at times, their economics class. Those are some of our bigger classes, more popular classes. And then we have students that are sometimes ill. They have medical conditions that make them susceptible to germs, and they need more of a virtual environment because they may be going through chemotherapy or some other treatment. They may have had surgery. So this environment really works for them. And these families may not want to use hospital homebound, and this may be a better choice for them. We have several different programs at OCPS. We have part-time, we have full-time. Part-time is comprised of home education, private school, charter schools, out-of-county students, and traditional students that are at brick and mortar schools. They take classes part-time with us, and we also have virtual learning labs, which are in the schools. And those labs are usually things like HOPE, world language, the government classes, and then we have blended labs. And those are classes that are taken at the traditional schools, but taught by their teachers, the traditional schools teachers. In our full-time program, we offer face-to-face support where students can come to our campus and meet with our teachers. We have online live lessons every week. Teachers have 3 to 4 lessons each week. We also have supplemental programs, iReady, Reading Plus, IXL, Khan Academy, and we have services including ESC 504s, gifted, ELL, and MTS. And those students also receive accommodations and they have additional live lessons with their teachers. Okay. Next slide, please. So I did mention a little bit of this already. So some of the program highlights, again, weekly live lessons. Our teachers have 3 to 4 lessons a week. Some teachers have more, depending on what's going on. The face-to-face support, which they come to our campus. We have tutoring, small group, one-on-one. We have clubs. We have a heavy focus on social and emotional learning. And our curriculum is taught by our local teachers. And sometimes we are confused with FLVS, and people think we're one and the same. But the difference with OCBS and FLVS is that our curriculum is taught by OCPS teachers and FLVS is taught by their teachers, which can be anywhere throughout the state. I want to go back to clubs and enrichment. These are just some of our activities that we have. We have book club, art club, sports. Our students go back to their zone school. We have National Honor Society, National Junior Honor Society, Yearbook Club, robotics, and we also have a Do Something Club where students go out into the community and give back, and various other things. I can't think of them all at this point, but you can find them all on our website. But we do try to offer many different options for our students so they can work with other students and, you know, have these extracurricular activities that they may have at their zone school.
So we have a great question that just popped in about OCBS, and it's, can a high school student who uses OCBS, whether it is full or part-time, still participate in dual enrollment?
Yes, we have that coming up. They can. Is that next slide? Next slide, please.
Let's find out. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Look at that.
there it is. There it is.
Alrighty, good afternoon, everyone. So let's talk a little bit about dual enrollment. So, our high school students can participate in the dual enrollment program. Again, it allows students to pursue advanced curriculum that allows them to earn high school credit. Again, one of the benefits of dual enrollment is that students can get a head start on earning college credits. They can explore resources, the college atmosphere, and then lastly, they can engage with different instructional models like the classroom, online, or hybrid. We are currently partnering with Valencia College, University of Florida, Mid-Florida Technical College, and then University of Central Florida. You can search the College of Interest by visiting their website to view the course information or the general information regarding enrollment. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. So let's talk about our enrollment windows. So our full-time enrollment window opens twice per year. So in the fall and in the spring, applications for the 2022-23 school year will open late spring. To tell you a little bit about the process, you would first attend an information session. So we start putting those on our website, which are for elementary through, for kindergarten through 12th grade. Those are information sessions. Then you will, decide if this is the best learning environment for your student. Then apply. Then you would apply. Once you receive the acceptance letter, then you will begin the registration process. Okay, so that's for full-time. For our part-time, we have rolling enrollment. So to enroll in our full-time or part-time program, you're going to go to our website, www.ocps.net. You can click on enroll and then click on enrollment information. The full-time application link will be available when the window opens. Again, for part-time, like I said, it is rolling enrollment. So part-time students enrolled in a traditional Orange County public school can sign up for courses with guidance approval. They will follow the steps on registering once that approval has been given by the guidance counselor.
Manal?
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about the information sessions that we have during the open enrollment period?
So great, yes. So during the open enrollment window, we do hold information sessions, again, for elementary and secondary. And it really just gives parents a chance to learn about our program, and they're great sessions, virtual, they're all virtual. We offer them, in the morning and in the evenings. And just, gives parents the opportunity to learn a little bit more about our program, what the expectations are, and so forth.
Yes. And our window typically opens anywhere between March and April. And when that happens, communication will go out to all families in OCPS.
Okay, so that was the biggest question we're getting online is, when is the latest somebody can make the decision to go to OCBS in the fall? We have some parents that are just on the fence, they're talking with their kiddos, they're just not sure yet, they want to do some exploration.
Right.
So, how long can they wait, or do they really have to, pull the trigger?
Right. Right. Well, the first step would be for them to complete the application. Our enrollment window is open for 90 days. And then, they can explore their other options throughout those 90 days. If they decide toward the end of the 90 days or just before school begins that they do not want to come to OCBS, that's okay. They're not locked in. It's not set in stone. Once they complete that application, they can still determine whether they want to utilize OCBS. But my suggestion is that anybody who is interested in having their child come to OCBS, fill out that application. So at least they've applied, because our application window will end just before school begins. And again, that information will be sent out to all.
So that's great advice, right? Because that means that if I'm a parent, I really should just go ahead and apply if I'm thinking it's even a possibility. And then I can always choose to turn down that seat. But, just to be safe that I don't miss that window, if I think this might be the right choice for my kiddo, I should just go ahead and apply.
Right, because we have the information sessions and they would want to attend those, and that will give them great information. They'll learn all about OCPS and the great things we provide. So I would suggest they do complete that application and they do attend these information sessions.
Thank you so much. That's awesome. That's going to answer so many people's questions. Now, I do know I'm seeing some questions about kind of like, well, my students are at home right now. We might be doing home education. How does that relate to OCBS? And I think that's where you're going next. So help me understand that.
All right, so we also offer, home education. So for families that are interested in the home education option, they would need to register through the home education department. Again, that is different than the full-time application process. So two different things. Again, you could go to our website, you would follow the steps on completing the letter of intent. Once that's completed, then you would enroll with Orange County Virtual School through the FLVS portal, since we are using their curriculum, and then you would register for the courses.
Okay, so then here's our next question, because again, this is a lot. Parents have a lot coming at them today. So, when it comes to OCBS, do they need to re-register every year, or is it like a normal school where if you're there for third grade, you're automatically going to be there for fourth grade?
Yes, that's a great question. So once they're enrolled with us, they can continue on. Like, let's say they started in third grade, then they would stay with us. But, a lot of times parents decide, okay, this isn't working, then they would go back to their traditional school. And then if that's the case, then they would reapply.
Okay, so if they're happy, they just stay, they continue on like a regular school. But if they want to go back to their home school, they would withdraw and reapply at their home school.
Exactly.
Perfect. Wow. My gosh, you guys have so many great things going on, and kudos for being one of those top high schools in the country. That's a big accomplishment.
Thank you.
So you have a lot of people to contact. So tell us about all of these different contacts and who the best people for parents to reach out to is.
Okay, so let's start. So our principal is Miss Brandy Gurley, and then we have our five amazing assistant principals, and they are by grade level, as you can see. For general questions, parents can email there's an email down here that says OCBS virtual franchise _SS at ocps.net for general questions. If it's specific to a grade level, then they can reach out to one of our assistant principals.
Awesome. Okay,
Can I add one more thing?
Absolutely.
Thank you. I really just want to reiterate that all of our courses are taught by by teachers in Orange County Public Schools. I think that's very important. And we also follow the same calendar as OCPS does. So I just want to make sure everyone understands that we are a part of OCPS, and we are a school just as all other schools in OCPS.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing. Now, if you're on the line, do not leave us, because this next group is really a group that I think a lot of parents aren't aware of, and there are some amazing options out there for kids. So if you're thinking to yourself, okay, I've heard about controlled open enrollment, I've heard about magnet schools, I've heard about charter schools, I've heard about OCPS, my current school is not working for my student, but I haven't quite heard of the right fit yet, I think you're going to find it here. We have another group in our district called Alternative Education, and they have some unbelievable programs for middle school and high school students, and they're going to be able to share some of that with us today. And I think this is going to be one of those moments that you click share and share with another family member or another parent in your neighborhood who hasn't heard about these programs. So take it away, guys.
Hi, my name is Sonia Ledger, and I am the lead teacher at Simon Youth Academy through Alternative Education Centers, and what we like to say, the best kept secret in Orange County Public Schools. So we are a part of OCPS. We offer non-traditional educational options. We have very unique educational environments, and we're going to talk about those today. 4 of our schools are considered school to work programs that are graduating sites. And then we have another graduating site called Beta, the Teen Parent School. I'm going to let my partner here talk about some of those schools.
Hi, my name is Christian Roquevert, and I'm with School to Work. And we have 4 schools in the school work department here. And depending on what side of town, as well as what academic needs a student has, will determine what school they may qualify for. Those 4 schools are Project Compass. It's just a partnership in the community with the Goodwill Industries and Orange County Public Schools. Goodwill provides the building, Orange County provides the teachers. Randall Academy is in partnership again with Randall Construction. Randall provides the building for us. They actually built the building for us. And Orange County again provides the teachers. Simon Youth Academy, which is where we're at right now, is a partnership with Simon Malls, Simon Youth Fund Foundation, the Millennium Mall, the Fashion Square Mall, the Florida Mall, multi-billion-dollar corporation. They have 40 something programs around the country that offer these sites. And again, just a partnership with Simon Malls, Simon Youth Foundation, and Orange County Public Schools providing the teachers. And last but not least, Universal Education Center. There's actually a school in Universal Studios. Again, Universal Studios provides us with a building, and Orange County just provides the teachers. So these are all just partnerships in the community with organizations.
Did you just say there was a school in Universal Studios?
There's actually a school in Universal Studios that that students can go to actually get their diploma from their zoned high school. All of our schools here, they don't tie back graduation-wise, but they all graduate with a diploma from their zone high school. And as mentioned earlier, I want to piggyback that these are all OCPS schools, same OCPS bus transportation, same testing calendar, same holiday schedule, same highly qualified certified OCPS teachers. So these are all actually Orange County Public Schools. They're just not one you can graduate from. We kind of technically borrow the student temporarily. That could be for a few months or literally all the way through their senior year. And then they go back to their zone high school either by choice whenever their GPAs and credits are fixed up, or if they stay with us through graduation, we automatically re-enroll them back in their zone high school so they can print up their diploma and get their cap and gown ready for graduation.
Wow. So not only can I go to school fully online or at a charter school of my choice or at a magnet program that has a million options, but I can also go to school in a mall or Universal Studios. It is possible that we have more choices than any other school district on earth. So tell me about Project Compass. I'm not that familiar with that one.
So Project Compass looks as a partnership between Goodwill Industries and Orange County Public Schools. They've been together now for, I want to say, about 20 plus years, maybe 24 years. And it helps students in grades 9 through 12 who may not be able to graduate otherwise because they're so short on their GPA or their credits. It's a true prevention program, as you see in the slide there. It takes students from all backgrounds, from really low GPAs, small credit earnings. So it depends on, if a student really needs a lot of information they need to get, then they can go there. It's also part of the schoolwork program because there are positions with Goodwill Industries that a student can participate in. They have to be kind of caught up with their credits and be at least 16 years of age. And then they can also work there for elective credits that count as A's. and have a job with Goodwill Industries during the school day. So Project Compass, basically, let me look at this other slide right here. The program features are that it's a small learning environment with individualized instruction. Students follow core class progression based on individual requirements for high school. And of course, they can also do things in Edgenuity and things for grade forgiveness and grade catch up there. Again, OCPS bus transportation, and their diploma comes from their zone high school, and standard disciplinary and attendance procedures for OCPS schools. So if we're going to jump ahead, how far in the, we can jump ahead to the Randall Academy. So the Randall Academy, Randall is the third largest construction company in Florida. They're the fifth largest employer in Central Florida with over 1,400 employees. Students work up to 3 hours a day during the school day. Each hour they work counts as an elective credit and counts as an A to help their GPAs. They're getting paid $13.50 an hour, and they can work in a construction trade such as plumbing, welding, HVAC, fire protection systems, as well as having office positions working in jobs such as finance and accounting. Again, they're getting paid $13.50 an hour during the school day and getting elective credits as A's while working that trade, and they have potential employment opportunities even beyond high school when they graduate. It's again a partnership between the Randall Construction Company and OCPS schools. This is our second year. We just opened it not too long ago here, working with Randall Academy. And the key here is also they have a mentoring program where they assign each student is paired with a highly qualified mentor from the company to guide them not just in academic aspects, but also social, emotional aspects, career ventures, and things like that to help them roundedly grow and graduate with their diploma from, again, their zoned high school.
So you said they get paid. I just want to make sure I heard that correctly. $13.50 an hour.
During the school day for 1 to 3 hours a day, depending on their core credit needs. That frees up their elective needs so that they can actually work those and get paid during the school day.
What a great option for families, and especially for kids who are really interested in construction, and that can set them up to go right into the field. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity, especially those students that want to go that direction that aren't getting what they need out of traditional high school. Students that maybe want to don't want to be taking classes they don't necessarily have to have for their electives, that can actually work their electives in a construction field, getting not only A's for it, but paid for it and valued learning on the job during the school day. So it's a great opportunity to move forward in that industry as well.
I like that. Not only getting A's for it, but also paid for it.
Yeah, the program features say that you must be 16 years of age or older. OCPS bus transportation. Your diploma, again, reflects the zone high school at the time of graduation. And students have to commit to a weekly work schedule. It's no more than 15 hours a week, all during the school day, though. And it gives the opportunity for students, like I said, to graduate with their zone high school and have all those A's to help boost their GPA.
Awesome. So now you're actually at the Simon Youth Academy. So my favorite place might be the mall, at least pre-pandemic. So you're there. So there's an actual school in the mall.
That's right. We are actually in the mall. So one of our sayings is, who knew that hope could be found in the mall? So yeah. So Simon Youth Academy has been around for about 20 years as well. We started off at the Florida Mall, and now we are located at the outlet malls over here on I-Drive in Oak Ridge. So walking distance to all the possibilities for jobs for our students. But one of the great things about our program is very similar to what we've been talking about so far, is that we are a school to work program. We do work mostly with at-risk youth who might be having a hard time earning that high school diploma. And so one of the things that they do is that they come to our schools depending on what they need. They might have 3 courses and then they can go to work the rest of the day, or they might need 6 courses and then they go to work the rest of the day. So it just depends. Everything is very individualized. We do focus on 11th and 12th graders who want to both work and complete their education. And then we have the workforce readiness piece, which is the most unique part to our school, is that we do have a work experience course and on-the-job training. So the work experience course is, I think, something that everyone should probably get, which is how to build a resume, how to go on a job interview. We talk about finances, all of those wonderful pieces to just become, a good adult out there in the world, we're in the workforce. We have great relationship with the outlet mall, so our students can work at the outlets, but they're also welcome to work anywhere near their home. So if transportation is typically an issue after school, then we do say that as long as they're allowed to, as long as they have transportation to work on the weekends, they can work near home as well. Our environment is very small as well. We do take 16 and older with a qualifying GPA. They do have to have that strong desire to work and be successful. As you can see in the picture, we're kind of a one-room school is what we like to call it. Very Google-esque. It's very cool to be here. The kids commit to working a minimum anywhere from 5 hours to 15, 20 hours, depending on their schedule and what we need. Their high school diploma also reflects the name of their zone school. And then again, OCPS attendance and disciplines, same thing that you'll find anywhere else.
Okay, that's a really cool space though. Like I'm kind of jealous because our district offices definitely don't look like that. So it's definitely a reflective of the workplace and a really neat place to learn and grow. So so now you're going to tell me that not only, so to clarify, we had construction, then we went to the mall, now we had Goodwill, now we're at Universal. So you guys might have the coolest job locations in the school choice.
I think so, definitely. Like what she said earlier, one of the least known places in alternative education, but they're gems that just not many people know about. But when they find out, and they're like, "How come I didn't know about this?" Counselors that don't know about anyone, when they find out about it, they're like, "Can I get in there?" They fill up pretty quickly though, so it's kind of challenging this time of year because the spaces are usually full. Universal Education Center, much like Randall, in fact, Randall kind of piggybacked off of Universal. Universal Education Center students actually work a paid job in the theme park Universal Studios during the school day. They work for 3 hours a day and they get paid $15 an hour. And they work in the theme park for 3 hours. They have face-to-face classes, small groups for 4 hours a day. And those three jobs they're working 3 hours a day count as 3 elective credits. They get 3 A's, so they're getting 3 A's at $15 an hour. An important part of Universal that Randall piggybacked off of is the mentor relationship. So students at Universal each have them assigned a member from higher up in Universal that mentors a student, talks to them not just said about academics, but about a future job, about socio-emotional things, just anything that helps the student out that needs them to progress and rounded as a full rounded student. The partnership's been there for 27 years. There's been a school in Universal Studios. Channel 6 News did a story about it for the grand opening when Dr. Jenkins cut the ribbon, I think it was about 2 years ago when they built the buildings for them. And it's just an amazing school where students can, when they do their field trips and everything, they do a lot of things at the Universal Studios. So they go to the rides and do all kind of fun things and during the holidays. So it's just really a great place for a student to get that well-rounded education and get those A's as well as the small groups to get their core classes, their math, social studies, English, science, all caught up really well. It's a school that a student has to fit into a little more because the schedule is rigid. With the 3 hours of work for your elective credits, it only allows 4 classes face-to-face. So a student can't be too far behind, whereas at their sites, a student can have more chance to catch up. Universal, you have to be a little more caught up to fit in the program credit-wise. So it's a great opportunity, just like the other ones, but each has their own little nuances, how they work and what students still fit. So when a student comes to us overall and says, "Hey, do I qualify for this, or this school?" We'll look at their credits, their GPA, all their background testing and otherwise to see which school, location-wise, but also primarily academically, how they're going to fit into it, what's going to be best for them to actually graduate from. Universal, just like all the others, they get their diploma from their zone high school. And just like, and I haven't mentioned all the other schools as well as Universal, they'll graduate, they go to homecoming and prom with their home schools. In fact, Universal and all these other sites have their own small little graduation. So it's like having divorced parents, you get a party at each house. You get a small graduation with us and a large graduation with your zone school. So it's just a great opportunity, like all the other alternative school settings, for students to have a different way to graduate, a different way that meets your needs. And it's not a search for students that may have a low GPA and needs help. Maybe we have students with 3.5s, and so they come there because they like the job schedule, they like their credits count as electives, they like the small class sizes. So there's a variety of reasons a student would come to any of our alt-ed sites, but Universal is a particularly big draw because students hear that, like you heard, "Wow, you can go to school at Universal Studios?" Yes, you can. So it's really,
I mean, look at that building. The building is gorgeous, and I'm getting paid $15 an hour. Y'all, I don't know about you, but my first job as a teenager did not pay me $15 an hour or come with a mentor or let me go to high school there, or potentially involve a lifelong career. So that is something parents definitely need to know about. There's a great question in the chat for you guys. And the question is there an age limit that you need to have to be involved in the Simon education program? So I guess really the question is not on the back end, but on the front end. So you have to be a 16-year-old student. But if I'm in a 5th year of high school and I need to finish up a few credits, for example, if I moved out of state, is this still an option for me?
It still definitely can be an option. Again, it's a case by case basis, but I believe the sort of oldest that will go is 20 years old. As long as it's something that we can work with, that is a student can come in and we know that there's going to definitely be success there. We're talking about just getting those last few credits across, and they're at that end stage of that, or that last stage of their high school career, and maybe a little bit of a, past their senior year. Definitely we can work with. We've had it in the past, and we will definitely work with a student like that.
That's awesome. I mean, such a great opportunity to transition post-graduation, and so many reasons that sometimes kids are in that 5th year. Maybe they've come from a different country or a different state that had different requirements. So thank you so much for sharing that. Now, I heard you have one more to share with us, and I kind of know what this one is, and I have to tell you, it's one of my favorites. This is the Beta School because it also has the cutest kids in it.
Yes. Yeah, it does have the cutest kids. You're absolutely right. So Beta is a program that's in partnership with Orange County Public Schools and the UCP of Central Florida. So Beta provides an opportunity for students who are pregnant, pregnant teens or teen moms, young moms that are in the OCPS district. We typically take from middle school up until high school. The students come to a very unique space where it is small class sizes. We give an opportunity for students to have not only their academic opportunities taken care of, so we take the barrier of motherhood in a way of like finding daycare and those kind of things out of the way. And so the students can actually bring their babies with them to school and their high school diploma and get that free childcare, so that it really sort of alleviates that barrier for students. They're also a part of the Simon Youth Foundation. So the Simon Malls has the foundation, and they offer things like grants and partnerships as well for Beta. So it's kind of a 3-way partnership. We have the UCP as well as Simon. They have small class sizes. Like I said, they have childcare on property. And you're right, the cutest kids in the entire OCPS.
I bet a lot of families don't know that when you mentioned they could bring their kids with them to school, if a family is in that situation, we actually have specially outfitted school buses that can assist our students with that actually have car seats on them. And I think that's one of those things that when people hear this, they don't always conceptualize what that means. But you guys are there to support those students all the way to graduation, no matter what that circumstance is.
Absolutely. Yes. The other piece to the Beta School is that if, and I know that's also something that we're going to be presenting, is the teen parent program. So if a student decides that they do not want to attend Beta, but they still want to remain at their zone schools, then we have the teen parent program. They can choose to stay at the school, but they also receive childcare that's available in the community, whether it be free or at a reduced price. And it's obviously in that community. So they can stay at school and they can take their babies to daycare and have that extra support. But again, if they wanted to come to school with their babies, which is actually a lot of fun because the moms get to have that mommy and me time. They get to have lunch and breakfast with their babies. They get to have those mommy and me moments throughout the day, which is a great opportunity. But if they wanted to stay with their zone school, then they can obviously participate in the teen parent program. We also provide parenting classes at the school, but they also can get the parenting class through the teen parent program.
So some questions I'm seeing in the chat box, I just want to kind of clarify, is a lot of these opportunities you guys are sharing are kind of mix and match. So for example, if I'm participating in an alt ed program, I can still go to OCPS part-time to take a class. If I'm participating inside of a magnet program, I can still take a class at OCPS, or I might be able to come over and do the Randall Academy and then also take advantage of another scholarship. So I think it's important for parents to not imagine that everything is one size fits all. that we can mix and match a lot of these options to help parents find their right fit for their child. And the best part about that is that you guys are all in the same office. So if they contact that school choice office, then your team can help them through that. And I think that that's going to alleviate a lot of stress that these parents have. Now we are going to post, guys, the link to this presentation in the comments under the video, so you guys can get access to all these amazing links that they're sharing, because I know that they've got some great QR codes for you to learn more about their individual programs. Is there anything else you guys want to share from Alt Ed? Okay, so awesome, thank you. So are there any other questions, parents? Now is your time. We've run a few minutes over, but I have to be honest, guys. I know that you on the call aren't always able to see how our parents are doing, but we've had over 103 questions over the last hour, and our parents are so keyed into this and looking for options for their families. So again, guys, if you are interested in any of these school choice options, please feel free to give the School Choice Services Department a call at 407-317-3484 or visit them at schoolchoice.ocps.net. And again, we have options that range from our magnet programs to charter schools to these alternative education programs that you heard about, to our amazing Orange County virtual school that you heard about today, and a million different options to be able to transfer between our existing traditional schools if for some reason your circumstances have changed that we heard about from student enrollment. So we want you here in OCPS. We want you to be able to find that perfect fit for your child and be able to make incredible choices for the next school year as a parent. So if you do have any additional questions for us, please feel free to type them in the chat or hit us up on that website or give us a quick phone call. I want to thank our panelists today. They took over an hour of their time to spend with you, and I have learned a ton, and I've worked here almost 20 years, so I know our parents have too. And a special thank you as well to Jason Caperton in the chat box and Alina Davis, who's helping us moderate on the other side. And just thanks so much to everybody and have a great day.